All right, so welcome. My name is Karen Menti. I'm the outreach librarian for UAGC, and we do this series every month, usually on the third Tuesday of the month. We call it Library Learning Lounge. And this is just our chance to take a deep dive, a closer look at a different database in our UAGC library. And today we're very lucky to have Stuart Beach with us from Clarivate, which is ProQuest eBook Central. And this is a great database. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with eBook Central. We have it linked in lots of courses. It is our main database for ebooks and textbooks at UAGC in the library. So it's a wonderful way to, especially if you're looking for foundational information. eBook Central has textbooks, handbooks, manuals, lots of good background research for students to know about, whether it's a textbook for their course or research that they're doing in their discipline. So we first, I just want to say thank you to ProQuest for being great partners with us. I know they are just really lovely partners, especially as we are working, as many of you know, so hard on accessibility. And we're grateful to have them as partners in the ebook space because they are very responsive and have worked with us a lot with ensuring that their materials can serve all students. So just a quick thank you to you all. We are very lucky to have you as partners in that. And I also want to plug our Resourceful initiative because, again, as eBook Central is our main database for textbooks, if you're not familiar with the Resourceful initiative, this is something that we have a goal that we've set to try and really boost the amount of low cost or really no cost textbooks that we provide for students. So eBook Central being available in the library anytime if you're a lead faculty that's developing or revamping a course, just remember your librarians are here to help you find those no cost options for students that can really lower the cost of their education. And eBook Central texts, we've been able to replace a lot of those third-party textbooks with texts available in the library. So again, thank you to eBook Central for making that a possibility for us. Before I get started, just some housekeeping notes. I am going to turn off my video for the presentation portion of it. I'd encourage everybody just to make sure you're muted, and if you can turn off your video at least for the demo part, that will ensure a good recording for those watching it later. And then we have a chat box available if you have questions that come up. I know Stuart will have some time at the end for Q&A, but feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll try to get to them either in chat or if it's more complex, we can ask Stuart for his help in answering those. So before we get started, I wanted to make sure that I show you how to find eBook Central if you'd like to follow along. And this is something you can find in the library database. Let me pull up my, oh, I might have to reshare here. Bear with me. There we go. Are you now seeing my UAGC library homepage? Great.
Yep.
All right. Wonderful. Let me. So if you're in the library homepage and let's say, I was thinking about it being St. Patrick's Day today. Let's say you want to find ebooks on Irish American literature. There's many different ways to get to a database in the library, but one of those ways, and the way most students we find will come to the library homepage and just type their search terms in the search box. So I'll show you this real quick. You can search for Irish American literature, and most of our databases we have configured into our discovery service to be able to find whatever databases you're looking for. They're already integrated into this search. So if we're looking specifically for ebooks for Irish American literature, we could go here to source type and select ebooks, and we'll get to some titles here. Now, if we wanted to, this will just jump us right into eBook Central. So that's one way to find it. Now, another way is you could select this ebooks tab, and what that will do is take our search, and you'll see, oops, you'll see when I do the search now, it just adds that search term there, that filter. So now we're seeing ebooks that, again, we can just jump right into eBook Central. Or, of course, it's always important to know how to get to the specific database if you would like to start from an eBook Central search, which, as our demo today will be showing you in detail eBook Central. You can click that eBook Central button on the homepage, and this takes you to our list of eBooks databases. And of course, eBook Central is the main event there. And that takes you right to our eBook Central landing page. So feel free to follow along. As I said, drop questions in the chat as they come up or grab the microphone. And without further ado, I'll hand things over to you, Stuart. Thank you so much for being here with us.
No, thank you, Karen. Thank you for your kind words. It's always nice to be appreciated and nice to hear that feedback from you as a valued customer. So thank you. Um, so I'm here today, not just myself. I've got a couple of colleagues on the call. Michelle Tomasi, who's part of our marketing team, and I think I saw Miriam on the call as well. So if I can't answer a question that comes through either on the call or through the chat, I may well defer to my colleagues. And also, Michelle will be talking a little bit at the beginning about some of the different content that's available to you through eBook Central. So I'm going to start off. I'll be sharing a little bit of information on eBook Central. Then I'll switch over to a walkthrough through a demo of the platform and its different features. I'll cover searching within eBook Central, although Karen, you've demonstrated quite effectively that you don't necessarily need to search in eBook Central to find books. I'll cover the reading experience within eBook Central, linking, annotations, the research assistant that's been recently introduced, and some of the user features, such as the bookshelf. I'll also talk briefly about our new application that was launched last year. That's for reading books that are downloaded from eBook Central for reading away from a browser, if you like. And that replaces Adobe Digital Editions. But let me start sharing. Let me see if I can find the share button. Very rarely use Zoom, so forgive me if I kind of spend a little bit of time trying to find the different navigation options. So hopefully you should see the slide deck. Michelle, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the slide deck?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. Okay, thank you. So let me make sure I can move through. Yes, I can. So all that being said, I'm actually now going to hand over to Michelle to talk a little bit about the content that we have on eBook Central.
All right. Thanks, Stuart. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us today. My name is Michelle Tomasi, and I work on the marketing side of eBook Central. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about some of the content that's available for UAGC. We had a look before this session, and it looks like over 285,000 ebooks are available, spanning a variety of disciplines and subject areas. We have a great relationship with our publisher partners, so you'll find the top academic publishers like Taylor and Francis, Wiley, Bloomsbury, Brill, Emerald, many others. We also know how important university press content is, so we have over 200 UPs represented. You'll find our partners like University of California Press, Yale, Toronto, OUP, so quite a number of them represented here. And I know that UAGC subscribes to a number of different collections on eBook Central. Academic Complete, which is more focused on the core academic disciplines, University Press ebook subscription, as well as College Complete. So you'll really find a variety of content covered here. All the traditional disciplines like social sciences, history, business, education. But we also focus on trending and emerging areas like AI, sustainability, as well as topics that are supporting students in specific skills and career preparation. So, healthcare, manufacturing, construction, things like that. Over on the right, I just pulled a few titles that we recently added to our collections. We update them about 4 times a year. So as you can see here, there's really a lot of depth and breadth into what's covered on eBook Central. And then I wanted to highlight 2 collections that are currently not subscribed, but we wanted to share some information, and we're happy to share more if anyone is interested. So we have ProQuest eBooks, which is a new subscription that we released last year. It's our most comprehensive offering. We have about 700,000 titles available through this offering. It's rigorous academic focus, but it also contains a lot of content to support people in their personal lives. So things like, content for mental health and well-being, career skills, personal finances, leisure reading, hobbies. It really has a wide range of coverage. Like all of our subscriptions, it's curated by our in-house librarians, so they really make sure the content is relevant. And all of the titles are available at unlimited user access, which is great, especially for remote learning. There's no limit to how many people can access a title. And then over on the right, we have Open Access Complete. This is a free subscription for eBook Central libraries. Currently, we have about 40,000 titles. These are vetted by our on-staff librarians. It's very easy to opt in. So if you'd like more information, we're happy to share that as well. And I think I'm handing it back to Stuart.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. So, just by way of introduction to eBook Central beyond the content that Michelle has very thoroughly shared there, I wanted to give you a little bit of background information on eBook Central as a platform. eBook Central, it's probably been in existence now for about 10 years. In fact, I think this is our 10th anniversary this year. It is an accessible, responsive platform that hosts nearly 3 million ebooks. These books are licensed from a wide variety of different publishers. And effectively, ebook Central provides patrons, researchers, students, academics, even library, so public library users. We serve a whole variety of different library communities. It provides patrons with seamless and immediate access to subscribed or owned books. And we support a variety of different authentication methods, really reflecting the kind of the wide variety of different users and use cases that's expected of a platform like ours. I'll share a little bit about what's new within eBook Central. Obviously, we've been around for 10 years, and before that, there were a number of different books platforms that were provided by ProQuest, now Clarivate, but they all came together to form eBook Central. So what's new within eBook Central? It's been a busy year and it continues to be a busy time for us. We continue to develop new features, new functionality within both the platform and, as I've mentioned, our application as well. Last year, we integrated an generative AI-based solution within eBook Central to help, not necessarily help all users, but certainly to help some users gain a better understanding of the books that they've been assigned or that they've chosen to read. We've also launched the app, as I've already mentioned, and I'll talk a little bit about both those things subsequently. But what we've also done, and what continues to be a major focus for us, is we've really enhanced the accessibility within eBook Central, both for the books and for the interface itself. That's in response to continued requests, continued demand from customers and users alike, but also new and developing standards around the world. Last year was the European Accessibility Act that came into force as of June last year. This year it'll be ADA Title II, and I'm sure next year there will be others around the world. So we really can't just accept the current status for eBook Central. We have to be constantly adapting, evolving, and responding to growing demands. One of the things that we did in response to those accessibility requirements was we switched the default reading experience from PDF to EPUB. PDFs are still available, but in response to the accessibility needs, we did make that change. So, s- going back to what I first talked about, the research assistant, the first thing on that the previous slide. The research assistant is it's an AI tool effectively, but it also brings together some existing features within eBook Central. So one of the important elements within eBook Central is a publisher provided book description. That appears currently or previously, it appeared only on the book details page. Now, about 90% of users come into eBook Central at the book level. That means that they've searched elsewhere. So they've done, as Karen demonstrated earlier, done a search within a library discovery system, within a library catalog. They found their chosen book. They then linked through directly into a platform like eBook Central. They may come in at the book details page, which I'll show you shortly, or they may come in at this page, the reader page. Now, previously, they wouldn't have seen that book description that's provided by the publisher. It's very important kind of bit of information just to provide some context as to the book that's about to be read. So by including that in the research assistant, it's not AI generated, it is provided by the publisher. It helps give the users some initial context before they start to read the book, making a more informed choice as to what the book is about, and what they need to get from that book. There are AI elements within it, and I'll talk a little bit about those as I do the demo shortly. Um, We have had some feedback in recent months to say it's a little bit distracting to have an AI tool there. We don't want to see AI when we're using a book. We want to be able to read the book. We want to be able to choose when we use the tool. So we have made some changes to the default presentation, which I'll talk a bit in a little bit about that. But it's really important to us to get that feedback from customers, from users, from academics like yourselves, to tell us what we're doing, making sure that we are doing the right thing at every point. So um, sessions like this, opportunities like this are really valuable for us to gather feedback, to hear what's important to you. And that's helped us to make a more informed choice and informed decisions over what we present and what we provide within eBook Central. The research assistant is available free of charge. We recognize it's not necessarily the right thing for everybody, so it can be turned off within libcentral. You have full control over whether you see it or not. The responses that are included within the research assistant, they are at the book and chapter level. They only ever use information from within the book and the chapter. We don't pull in any information from outside of the individual chapters, the individual books. And it is only ever used within the context of eBook Central. We don't pull in or export to other sources. Currently, it doesn't support any conversational querying. It doesn't have a chat feature at the moment, but that is something that we are looking to develop in due course. Moving on, the eBook Central application, the Reader app, as it's so called. This is something that we launched last year. Again, been a busy time for us and continues to be a busy time. This is really intended to be a replacement for Adobe Digital Editions, something that we have been developing for a couple of years now. Something that we have developed in-house. It's something that we support, we maintain, we update in-house. And it really provides a more integrated reading experience, allowing the user to perhaps start reading online within eBook Central, the platform, and then download and continue reading within the application. This is something that's being enabled on request. So we're not automatically pushing you to a new application or a new reading experience. You choose when it's the right time for you as an institution to move over to using the application. So I'll talk a little bit about this again when I move on to the demo. But essentially, it provides standard reading functionality for downloaded books from eBook Central. It's available on 4 major operating systems, so Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. It can be installed on up to and including 6 different devices per user. And there's a very simple, very straightforward registration process. You register your device as a user, and after that, you no longer need to authenticate when you're using the application, obviously you need to authenticate into eBook Central, and more often than not, it's quite seamless. But all the authentication, all the system recognition, if you like, is behind the scenes. So we try and make it as seamless and as barrier-free as possible for the end user when they're using it, but there is an enhanced security in effect. A little bit quick preview of what it looks like. I won't necessarily be demoing the app today, but just to show you, as I mentioned, provides standard reading functionality and book management options within the application as well. I won't go through all of the options, all of the features that are available within the app, but so we are developing, we are adding new features. So if there's some things on this list that you might be interested in, or there are things that aren't on this list that you're interested in, please do let us know. And as I've mentioned, accessibility, that remains fundamental to all that we do. We normally make sure that we are providing equal and equitable access to our books, the books that we host on behalf of the publishers that we license from. As I mentioned, we have made a switch from PDF as the default reading experience to EPUB Preferred. That's essentially to provide a more accessible and responsive book format, but PDFs continue to be available for those users who want to use them. We've also started to include accessibility metadata as part of our book display as well, so that it's clearer what the individual characteristics are of each book that we host when that's available. And we are working towards WCAG 2.2 compliance, currently compliant with WCAG 2.1. We are generally compliant with WCAG 2.2, but there are certain areas that we need to build out, we need to develop, and we need to enhance in order to make sure that we are as fully compliant as we can be. And it's not just us saying that we are as compliant as we can be or as fully compliant as we can be. We do constantly seek industry standard validation, industry validation, making sure that we meet the standards that we say we are meeting. And that quite often comes through to us unbidden as well. So there are different organizations who carry out audits of our services, our platforms on a regular basis. There are academic studies that are carried out on our platforms. And I'm very pleased to say that we get a generally glowing endorsement most of the time. There is obviously, we can always do better. So it's good to get that feedback, get the criticism as well, to make sure that we are concentrating on the right things and that we know what we need to work on as well in the future. So I'm going to move over to the demo, but I'm perhaps pause there, see if any questions have come in on the chat before I move on. I'm not sure if anything has come through.
I don't see any
Karen, has
questions
it?
yet, just
No?
some nice feedback about the research assistant.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michelle. Right then, so let me just stop sharing very briefly and bring up the platform. So hopefully I'm going to go into the University of Arizona Global Campus Libraries version of eBook Central. And that has been successful. So I am going to share that now. There we go. So again, hopefully you can now see that. So I am in eBook Central. I'm in University of Arizona Global Campus Library. So as I mentioned already, about 90% of users enter eBook Central at the book level. They very rarely search. Most searching is done elsewhere, as I've already said, through library discovery services, or it may be a bookmark, or it may be a link that's been provided in a reading management system, for example, or learning management service system. We do provide some standard search options though. We have the basic search page, which you'll see very Google-like single search box. A user can search using a keyword, or they can use a phrase. They can use some fundamental Boolean searching here. Or alternatively, they can go to the advanced search page. And this is really, again, standard query builder functionality, so that if a user wants to look for specific content, they can search on wide variety of different fields, and they can add different fields to their query in order to narrow down to specific books or specific sets of books if they need to. We also have a probably not very widely used option for browsing subjects. So that allows the user to drill down through a structured list of different subjects and hierarchical subject tree. But again, that's very rarely used within eBook Central, but it's there for those users who do want to explore by subject. But as I say, most users, when they come into eBook Central, they are coming in at the book level. Before I move on to the book reading experience, I will just plug a little bit about some of the customization options that are available for this page, the basic search page, and also for eBook Central in general. We do have options of being able to add in university logos or library logos if you need to. And I note that there is some customization here already of the homepage text. So if you want to make it clearer that eBook Central is provided to your library users by your library, um, that is an option. You can add in a logo, you can add in links as well to other library resources, library information, library help, perhaps. All of that can be added within the interface. That can be managed through our admin tool, libcentral, that I don't think I'm going to get time to go through that today. I'm going to start off perhaps by doing a quick search. So I'm going to search on phrase such as string theory. Let's say probably, let's say about 5%, 7% of users will actually search within libcentral. More often than not, as I say, they're coming in through the library discovery service. As can be expected, a fairly standard results page. You have a list of results. You can customize the number of items that are on the results page. You can narrow down your the search results. You can filter by subject, by language, by author, by date. And there are various options here, such as being able to download the book, linking through to the book details page, linking through to a table of contents. Books can also be saved to a user's bookshelf, which I'll talk about in due course. So what you'd expect really by way of kind of standard functionality for a results page. So all that in mind, I'm actually going to link through to a specific book. I'm going to take a look at this one, String Theory in the Real World. This book that I was looking at earlier hopefully kind of provides some of the features and options that I'd like to be able to demonstrate to you today. First view, the primary view for a book within eBook Central is what we call the details page. This provides, as the name might suggest, provides the user with some details about the book. What is the book about? Publisher description that I was talking about earlier that's available in the research assistant, that is quite prominent here. So again, giving the user a little bit of description about the book. This is the equivalent of what you'd get if you took a physical book off a shelf, you turn to the back cover. This is the equivalent of that information that's available to the user. There's also the table of contents, so a user can look through, make sure that this is the right book for them. They can jump through, they can look at different sections within the book. They can jump to specific points within the book using the table of contents. There are also options here for citing and sharing a link to the book if the user needs to do that. What I would also say is that the URL that we provide, that also acts as a durable link. So if somebody wants to bookmark this page, if they want to add it to an LMS, to an LTI compatible tool, they can do that just by grabbing the URL from here. Also information that's available here, book metadata. So you can make sure that this is the right book for you. Again, making a more informed choice as to the book you want to read. There's also the accessibility information that I was sharing with you a little bit earlier. In this case, we haven't received anything from the publisher, but it's very important for us to say when we haven't received things as much as when we have. I will see if I can find an example that has a bit more detail if I have time. And also a very important point, a very important aspect of the books that are available within our collection, the Academic Complete collection, is that we provide enhanced book information as well. There's this you may also like. to help users link through to other relevant books. There's also more information about the author. And there's also altmetric information as well, something that I think was very big perhaps 10 years ago, and continues to be very useful in terms of providing information to users about how this book has been referenced, perhaps in social media, how often it's been cited elsewhere. And it really kind of gives an overview as to if you like, the way that the book has been received, the way that the book has been used, the way that the book has been shared across the wider library community. So is this perhaps a useful book? And then you can use that, compare and contrast with other books to make a more informed choice as to is this book perhaps less useful or more useful than some of the others that have been assigned. So I'm going to jump in to I'm going to start reading online. So as I mentioned, can either start reading online directly at the cover page of the book, or I can jump in at the table of contents to a specific chapter. I can read now page by page. I can scroll through, look through page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and so on. I can jump to a specific page if I have a specific page reference, or if I'm interested in looking at a specific chapter, I can use the table of contents on this page to view that information. So I'm going to say I'm interested in supersymmetry. Why not? I can now jump through to supersymmetry. So again, hopefully all fairly standard stuff. Nothing that's out of the ordinary here. One thing that users can also do that is, well, particularly useful is the ability to copy text. They can copy sections of text. They'll get a menu. They should get a menu appearing. I've probably been timed out, so let me refresh the page. So this is going to work. Yep, I'm going to find another book. Let's see. Let me try this one. Right, let me jump to a section here. As always happens whenever you're doing a live demo, it's always going to be, there we go. There we go. Something has worked. Good. So I'm going to highlight a section of text. There we go. Now I can see the menu that appears. So I can I can copy the text if I want to. So this now allows me to copy the section of text that I've highlighted, that I've selected rather. And I can take that text and I can now paste that into an assignment, into an essay, into my notes, whatever it might be. And one thing that will also be included as part of that copying of the text is it will include a citation for the text, where it's come from, what the book is, where the book's been found, and when it's been created. What I can also do is highlight this section, different sections of text. So if I'm interested in this particular section and I think that's relevant for a particular course, this other section is relevant for another course, I can highlight them in different colors to make them really stand out. I can also add annotations as well. So let's say I want to add a note to this section. I can add a note to say this is useful, dot, 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 whatever it may be. I can save that as well. Now, I can be using Ebook Central just as perhaps a walk-in user, or I've just logged in through different authentication methods. But what I haven't done necessarily is I haven't logged into my own Ebook Central account. If that was the case, any notes, any highlights that I'm adding now, they will only be available for me for a specific session for the time that I'm using this book. If I wanted to save these notes, if I wanted to save these highlights, then I can create my own user profile, my own bookshelf account, and those then will be saved from session to session. So the next time I come back to this book, maybe in a week's time, a month's time, those notes will still be available. If I wanted to see them right now, I want to see specific sections of the book that I've annotated, that I've highlighted, I can go into the side panel within the reader and I can see the highlights, I can see the notes that I've added. And that'll be true as I move through the book as well. What I can also choose to do is I could download the chapter, and that will give me a DRM-free PDF for the chapter or a specific run of pages. If I choose to only just print out, let's say I'm only interested in pages 17 to 20, I can print those out, I can download them, and that PDF file will be available to me for, well, in perpetuity. It's not subject to any DRM limits that may apply to the wider book. If I'm not interested in a specific chapter, if I want to download the whole book, I can do. I could download it to Adobe Digital Editions, but in the future, we'd be very hopeful that that user may want to download it to the Ebook Central app once that's been enabled. Um, Obviously, many of the books that we host on Ebook Central, they are subject to some limits that are required by the publisher as part of the licensing agreement. So what we tend to see is that, let me go, if, let's say, quite often what the DRM limits on books is there's like a 10% limit on copying or printing. Um, if I need to know whether I've hit those limits or if I'm getting close to those limits, that again, that's visible on the reader page. Alternatively, when I first landed on the book detail page, all of that information is available there as well to me as a user if I need to know that those limits apply. If it's a DRM-free book, there are no limits in place. That will also be mentioned there to say that the book can be downloaded, the book can be copied, it can be printed without any restrictions. Um, Jumping back to the book, various different options that are available in addition to what I've already explained. There's search within. A user can look for specific phrases. So let's say I want to know more about Impact Pro, for example, and search. And this will tell me that there are two instances of Impact Pro in this specific section, the one that I'm looking at, but it doesn't appear anywhere else in the book. So that's going to help me in terms of the research that I'm doing as a user if I was looking for that specifically. There are also options such as changing the font size. Now, if I was looking at, so this is an EPUB formatted book, but if I was looking at this as a PDF, I can zoom in or zoom out specific sections of the text. So it's less accessible, but there are still options that help me in the use of the book. I talked very briefly about the research assistant, but what I'll do is I'll bring that up now as well. We have made a recent change to the research assistant. If you're used to seeing the research assistant in effect on eBook Central, this is in response to some customer feedback that we received pretty much from when we launched it in April last year. We received a number of concerns from customers, from end users saying it was too prominent, or users wanted to make a choice as to when they used it, or they'd rather see the table of contents, first of all. So in January this year, we made a change. We've put the table of contents as the first thing that users see when they start reading a book. And now they can choose to use the research assistant because we know that AI isn't right for everybody. So a user can click on the little sparkle icon in the top right corner and they can bring up the research assistant. And what this should now do is for the chapter that's being viewed, it will generate a key takeaway, which is a very brief set of insights into what is important about this chapter. Or they can view a list of concepts that are essentially different entities that are mentioned within the chapter, and that might be a company name, it might be a place name, it might be a person, it might be a product, and it can then contains a definition for each of those different terms. And that definition is drawn from within the text, within the section that's being analysed. It's not being pulled in from any external source, it's not being pulled in from anywhere else in the book. So it may well be that if you look at a definition of, let's say, Optum, in this chapter, you may well see a different definition from Optum in another chapter, whatever that might be. Brief little plug for the research assistant. Some of the analytics that we've been doing, it highlights that for those users who use the research assistant, they're spending more time reading a book, roughly 3 times more time than a user who doesn't use the research assistant. The average number of sessions per user is also increased by about 3 times. So users are coming back more and more often to read more books. And the percentage of users who move through a book is about 5 times greater than the users who don't use the research assistant. So they are using more of a book and they're coming back more often to use more books. So while research assistant usage generally is quite low, in comparison to more wider use across eBook Central, those users who are making use of it, they're getting more from it and they're getting more from eBook Central as a result. Um, Let me see, what else do I need to mention? Accessibility. No, as I've already said, very important for us. So our switch to EPUB as the preferred format, as the default format, that really helps in terms of overall responsiveness. EPUBs are designed to be a more responsive format than PDFs. It's a more accessible format, and it integrates more closely with screen readers as well. So if users are using different assistive technologies, then the EPUB is going to be read out more effectively, more seamlessly than if they were using a PDF. With a PDF, what we tend to find is that those aren't screen readable. They can't really be used with assistive technologies unless they're downloaded. But what we do provide by way of mitigation there is we provide a text-only view. So a user can switch to a text-only view for the PDFs that they have available to them. I mentioned about sessions and session persistence, if you like, of the notes, the annotations that have been recorded, the highlights that have been captured. Um, I'm going to jump out of the book now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the bookshelf that we have available. And bookshelf really is the uh, user's go-to area, if you like, for books that they've been reading within eBook Central, the books that they've been using within eBook Central. So this really kind of acts as a little bit of it records or it captures the use, the activity for that user. So let's say the user's been using eBook Central, they go away for a week, they go away for a month, they then come back and they want to pick up where they left off. The bookshelf will allow them to do that. It will show them the notes, the highlights that they've captured. It will show them which books were recently viewed. It will show them any books that they've saved as well, that they've selected to save. And also within the bookshelf, a user can organize books into different categories, into different folders as well. So let's say somebody's saved 10 books. They've said each of those 10 books is needed for a different course, or maybe half the books are for one course, half the books are for another. The user can then organize those books into different folders dependent on the course that they need to read them for. Um, the user can then also look at any annotated books. They can jump in, they can jump back into the book that they've annotated, and from once they're in the book, they can use the annotations menu to look back at what sections of the books they highlighted or added notes to. One thing I didn't mention, and that I realise now, is that a user can also add a note at the page level as well. They don't necessarily have to do it at just that text selection level. And what they can also do is they can add bookmarks again, and all of that information is saved within the annotations menu within the reader page. I think I've covered pretty much everything that there is to cover in terms of the reading experience, the linking experience. One thing I haven't covered as yet is that the user interface is available in 11 different languages. So if you need to, as a user, you need to change the interface language to whichever language you're most comfortable in, that is an option. What the platform will also do is it will recognize the browser language that's being used and it will adapt automatically to that if that language is available. And as I've already noted as well, I may have mentioned at the beginning, is that eBook Central is responsive as well. So it can be used on any device, any operating system, as long as it has a compatible browser. Um, may not necessarily be every single device, every single operating system, but certainly the majority of them, eBook Central will be available on there. So that can be used very flexibly, depending on your user, your patrons' circumstances. Very quickly, before I move back to the slides and before I look at get a chance to answer any questions that may have come in. One thing I will mention is that eBook Central is available it's available through the ProQuest platform as well. I don't know if many of you use the ProQuest platform on a regular basis, but one of the things that we did probably about 6 or 7 years ago now was we provided a closer integration of eBook Central through the ProQuest platform. So if you're searching on the ProQuest platform, you're searching within products that are databases that are available there. And you'll find books from eBook Central within the search results on the ProQuest platform. The reading experience, the user experience of eBook Central is available on the ProQuest platform as well. And the entitlements are shared between eBook Central and the ProQuest platform. So what that means is that if a book is being read and it's available on, say, a 1-user or a 3-user license, then that means that if somebody tries to look at the same book on eBook Central, that seat, if you like, that license is being used, and it will recognize that that license is being used. So it may be that the book gets blocked until the user stops reading the book, and then it's freed up for the next user to come and use it. So you have a choice of using books from eBook Central on either eBook Central or the ProQuest platform, depending on which your preference is. That also applies to linking as well. If you choose to link to eBook Central, you can do so, or if you choose to link through to the ProQuest platform, you can do that as well. So it really gives you that flexibility in terms of what is your preferred interface for using those books. I realize probably a lot more that I could go into, not just within eBook Central, but also Lib Central, our administration tool. But that's perhaps time for another session. I'm conscious that time is ticking on, and I do want to leave some time for questions. So let me just stop sharing the platform and very quickly go back to the slide deck and make sure that there are things that, or that there's nothing I haven't covered. So bear with me. So I think I've covered the accessible framework, I've covered accessibility, the EPUB reader as well, and text-only view. EPUB reader options, including the annotations, navigation, citations. Actually, I didn't cover citations, but it is possible to cite books from using the reader functionality. There are assistive technology integration available within eBook Central. We test quite extensively using different screen readers, certainly JAWS and NVDA. It's possible to use eBook Central using a variety of different navigation methods, obviously both keyboard and mouse, and other means as well. What else do I need to cover that I haven't covered already, or recap? Talked about the filtering, the searching within eBook Central, the different results options that we have available, the detailed view, the reader view as well. And then different options that are available to make a more informed choice over what you're reading as well. Here is mention of the citation options that are available if you need to reference a specific book or specific sections within a book as well. And as I've already mentioned, annotations. So students can add notes. They can add notes at the book level. They can add notes at the section level as well. And those will appear in the user's bookshelf as well as in the annotations panel. All right, I appreciate that was a lot. Gone through quite a lot of information there. And I'll hand it over to you if you've got any questions for me or for Michelle. All right, stunned you all into silence.
Stuart,
job.
we have a
Thank you.
question from one of our accessibility specialists about in the chat from Heather about an example of an accessibility statement.
Yes, of
Heather,
course. Yeah, let me see it.
if you're available to jump on the mic, maybe you can ask your question.
It might be a little noisy where I'm. I apologize for that.
Okay.
But it was, I think, on the description of the text, you said that there was like many of them had an accessibility like description on them, and that's what I was curious if we could take a look at that. Just an example one.
Yeah, of course. Let me see if I can find an example of a book. Sorry, bear with me. Sorry, I do just need to log into our admin system to try and find one.
No problem.
So
Take your time.
I realize it's also I realize I'm looking very grey in my video. Apologize. It's getting later in the day here in the UK, so hopefully you can still see me. But it's not important to see me. It's what I'm saying that's the important thing. So bear with
Thanks
me a
for
second
joining
while
us
I.
all the way from the UK. Wow, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. All right. Bear with me a second. All right, here we go. So, let's see. So this is, as I say, something that's been recently added to Ebook Central. Not all publishers are sending us the information, which is why it's taking me a little bit of time to try and find it. But it is. I'm currently searching, try and find an example of one. Here we go.
While
So
Stuart's,
let's see.
oh,
Yeah,
I
please
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna point out that there's there's a great anytime you're in the ebook central platform, there's you can actually reach out directly about any accessibility issues right in the platform. And I was just going to mention because sometimes users might find that, and just as a librarian, we'd appreciate it if you'd also loop us in. Like, for example, if a faculty submits an accessibility request for remediation directly in the platform, just if you have a moment to reach out and let the library know, just so that we can be aware of the issue and work with eBook Central and the user to make sure we get what is needed.
Okay, thank you, Karen. And I've just found an example of a book with a more detailed accessibility statement. So in this case, Towards Sustainable Communities, this is a book from, let me see who it's by, New Society Publishers. This is from 2023, I believe. Yeah, 2023. And if you want to look at the accessibility information that's available, you look in the book details section here on the on the details page, click on the accessibility link, and that gives you this layer, this overlay that contains all the information that we've received from the publisher about this book. So if there's an accessibility summary, in this case not provided by the publisher, but they have provided other information. We receive an Onyx feed from publishers, and this is the information that they've provided to us, telling us about any hazards, any accessibility information. Um, some publishers may only provide 2 or 3 fields in this information. Some provide quite extensive list. So this is probably one of the better ones in terms of the information that's provided. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. And that link, if you go back real quick, I just wanted to point out what I was talking about. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stuart, when they click, if you click where it says accessibility, it has an option at the bottom there. Accessibility metadata is provided by publishers. Submit a correction or question here. That will open a ticket with the eBook Central support um, folks, and then they will start the remediation process from there. But if you think of it and you want to loop in the library and just let us know, or if you want us to handle that process of asking for remediation for an object for a material that you find is inaccessible, just let us know. We want to make sure that we're tracking any requests like that. So thank you. Did
Yeah,
that,
I'm sharing
Heather,
the
did you get your question answered? Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
it did. And I'm loving the direction because it's also going to encourage the publishers to provide that information and also be working towards that direction. So I love that.
Great. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? I was just quickly looking through the chat. It doesn't look like there's anything else in there, but other than lots of praise and kind words, so thank you. It's always very heartening to see to get feedback like that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. This was wonderful. If any other, I know we're almost at time, so I don't want to cut off. If anybody does have any questions, please feel free to still jump in, but I just want to make sure that I say thank you again, Stuart, for joining us, and Michelle as well. We just really hope to be there to support our students and our faculty, and however we can, please get back to us with any feedback that you have. I'll be sending out the recording, and Stuart, I'll follow up with you maybe for the slide deck that I can share out. And of course, if
Of course.
anybody has questions, I'll make sure to include your contact info. All right. Any other thoughts before we say goodbye for the Wednesday? Or it's not even Wednesday yet. We used to do these on Wednesdays, and now it's like I have to adjust my whole schedule. Like, nope, only Tuesday. Don't get ahead of yourself, Karen. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Thanks again, Stuart.
Thank you
Take
all.
care.
Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.